តែនៃខ្មែរគឺជាមហានគរស្រងបបរតាំងតែពីបុរាណវប្បធម៌អរិយធម៌រុងរឿងកាន់កាខ្មែររួមសុខសាន្តមានសិទ្ធិសេរីអីលើខ្មែរចៅចន្ទយុឈ្នះទៀនទឹកដីខ្មែរក្រកាយស្វាងចិនរជីវីសឹកសង្គ្រាមខ្លាំងក្រាប់ពេញលើធរណីខ្មែររួមសាមគ្គីការពារទឹកដីកម្ពុជាឯករាជ្យបានជាទីដងខ្មែរបានសុខទាំងអងគ្រប់អាត្មាសូមប្រពន្ធឲ្យក៏សង្សារទុកាសាធារណរដ្ឋថ្មីគ្រប់គ្រងហើយដីកម្ពុជាឯករាជ្យបានជាទីដងខ្មែរបានសុខទាំងអងគ្រប់អាត្មាសូមព្រះពុទ្ធឲ្យក៏សុខសាធុកាសាធារណរដ្ឋថ្មីគ្រប់គ្រងផែនដី
យើងខ្ញុំប្រកាសណាសូមក្រាបថ្វាយបង្គំព្រះពុទ្ធព្រះធម៌ព្រះសង្ឃជាទីសក្ការៈសូមគោរពជម្រាបសួរឯកឧត្តមសាស្ត្រាចារ្យបណ្ឌិតឆិតរីអគ្គស្ថាបនិកអគ្គមេបញ្ជាការឧត្តមក្រុមប្រឹក្សាខ្មែរជួយខ្មែររំដោះជាតិជាទីគោរពដល់ខ្ពង់ខ្ពស់និងសូមជម្រាបសួរបងប្អូនខ្មែរទូទាំងសកលលោកនេះជាកម្មវិធីទស្សនៈស្ត្រីលើកទី32ថ្ងៃនេះយើងមានប្រធានបទស្ដីអំពីសមិទ្ធផលរបស់ហ៊ុនសែនតាំងពីឆ្នាំ1970ភ្នាក់ងារអង្គើទូរិយុចាយើងខ្ញុំទូរណសាស្ត្រីនឹងបកស្រាយជាភាសាអង់គ្លេសមានដូចតទៅ Good evening and welcome back lady to the Supreme Council of Khmer for Rescue Khmer Lady Viewpoint our number 32 show. As always in the last 3 years our Khmer Lady Viewpoint try our best to bring the English version of what has been discussed in the Khmer version of our live show, round table show, and the question and answer show. As a result, our audience has grown stronger globally with the message that we have to share with the truth about our country and what the evil regime has done to our country. And now I would like to introduce our panelists. This evening we have Chhyna Chan and Kalyan Nou, and my name is Chhovy Pich. I am your host tonight. How you doing, lady, this evening?
Great, Bong. Thank you, and good evening, Bong and Chhyna and everyone. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking, Bong. I look forward to celebrating Khmer New Year, which is coming up soon. With here in Hawaii, just with my sister and her family. We don't have much to celebrate, Bong, here because our community here is pretty small. And I'm sure there's much bigger community where you're at. Long Beach can have a big celebration there. And I'm sure you're gonna have fun, Bong. And that's about it. Just go to dinner and remembering our culture and traditions. Thank you, Bong.
Thank you.
Well, good evening, Mong Chhovy and Mong Kalyan. It's glad to be back. I'm pretty glad to be back here again with you all. Like Mong Kalyan said, my population here is not as big as yours either. So there are not enough activity going on for us in comparison to the community in Long Beach, California, where Mong Chhovy is at. So in addition, it's just another new year. What I look forward to is having a big, unique celebrations in Siem Reap after we take control of the country, Bong. Now, that's a huge deal to me. So if that time comes.
Yes, thank you, Owen. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Let's talk about the topic, tonight. Tonight's topic is Hun Sen accomplishment since 1970. He is the agent of evil in Khmer ផលិតផលរបស់ហ៊ុនសែនតាំងពីឆ្នាំ1970គត់ភ្នាក់ងារអំពើទុរយុទ្ធ Wow, this word is worse than the English alone. It's worse. Yes. On February 13, 2023, Hun Manet brags about his dad's official accomplishments to American diplomat at his farewell party. He bragged about Hun Sen's accomplishments when asked how Hun Sen would be remembered. I encourage our audience to watch the YouTube video to see how arrogant Hun Manet was. He started by, acknowledging the wonderful hotel they were having their party at, looking down at the traffic jam and the large shopping mall in Phnom Penh as the fruit of the that accomplishment. This is the least I want to share from YouTube video clip I could extract. Please watch the video to get the full feel of understanding yourself and you to be the judge. You be the judge of it. Okay, but tonight in the first part of this show segment, we will outline the truth of Hun Sen's accomplishments from 1970 to now. The segment will be broken into the following: 1970 to 1977, the Khmer Rouge comrade; 1979 to 1993, the traitor, the invasion period; and 1993 to present, the Vietnamese puppet. That will be an open dialogue discussion. Okay, you ladies can jump, if needed. During the next 60 minutes, we will attempt to introduce, the truth in English. Lady, please help provide input about Hun Sen's accomplishment in a chronological order, as I stated earlier. Okay, are you ready, ladies?
We are ready, Bong.
Yes, we are,
Yes.
Bong.
If you are ready.
Yeah, yes, that's good. Let's share from 1970 to 1977 before. Please provide a brief personal background, if you could, please, lady. Thank you.
Please, ladies, if I could, may I go first, Chhyna?
Sure,
And
Bong.
yes,
Go ahead.
help me if I missed anything, okay, ladies?
Okay.
Hun Sen was born on August 5th, 1952, with the name of Hun Bonnal, and he changed his name to Hun Sen in 1972 when he two years after he joined the Khmer Rouge as a soldier.
Well, you are correct, Bong Kalyan. He joined Khmer Rouge in 1970 and was a battalion commander in Democratic Kampuchea until defecting in 1977 and fighting alongside Vietnamese forces in the Cambodian Vietnamese War. Bong.
Yeah, for 7 years as a battalion commander, he has, killed thousands of Khmer Republic soldiers and innocent village people who he would consider the enemy of his movement of a communist ideology.
Bong, Khmer don't kill Khmer. Only foreigners kill Khmer. But, this man is a cold-blooded killer. And I'm sure that Go Khmer around the world, even his cronies right now would agree with us. Hun Sen killed and jailed anyone that turned against him.
You're exactly right. Between 1970 to 1977, before they defected to join the Vietnamese, You are right on point. Mong Chavi. Hun Sen was responsible for thousands of innocent lives. Whether he killed with his hands or not, he was the commander of the battalion. And he responsible for using all these innocent lives in Cambodia, whether is in the past or in the present, Mong Kalyan and Mong Chavi.
Yeah, Chhyna, that was certainly one of his accomplishments of being responsible for the dark period on. This man is the enemy of Kon Khmer, or the enemy, and the enemy of all Khmer freedom and peace. He has no remorse at all for his killing on.
Yeah, he killed, to get a promotion and gain power. Okay, lady, let's look at the period from 1977 to 1979.
Well, the period of killer and traitor made his mark after being defected to Vietnam after his Khmer Rouge comrade knew his true identity and who he served himself, Bong.
Before returning to Cambodia with Heng Samrin and his other, traitor comrade, Hun Sen trained with the Vietnamese communists on their, kill ideology to extend the Khmer race from, our land.
Bong, the Vietnamese knew that Hun Sen would kill to get a promotion, Bong. And that is why all his promotion and power consolidation is from removing his enemy or anyone that in his way, Bong, that in his way, by him killing them.
Well, after the liberation, Bong, Pain Savan and Chan Si was his bosses. Pain Savan and Chan Si was Hun Sen's boss, right? So these leaders were difficult for the Vietnamese to control. In turn of the Vietnamese uses Hun Sen as a puppet because his ignorance, stupidity is much more easier for them to control and brainwash to succeed their invasion on the Khmer Rouge land, Mong.
That is correct, Chhyna. He became Minister of Foreign Affairs at the age of, guess what, 26, then Deputy Prime Minister.
Hun Sen rose to the premiership in January 1985 when the one-party National Assembly appointed him to succeed Chan Si, who has died in office in December of 1984, Bong.
Chhyna, also, Mr. Chan Si death was very questionable too, also.
You know what? That is correct. Hun Sen got that, promotion after the discrimination of to the Vietnamese general that he successful, managed, the what you call it, K5 by sending Kon Khmer to die.
Bong, could you please share more about the K5, Bong? I'm sure you know about that more than us here.
Yes. K5, also known as the bamboo curtain from 1985 to 1989, was a mission designed to annihilate, young men the age from, I believe, is 18 to 25 years old. The Vietnamese felt that, they feel that as long as they have young, Khmer men, they will have a problem controlling Cambodian. The project is cost at least 200,000, innocent lives due to the Vietnamese invasion, at the Thai border, Cambodian border.
Well, Bong, I remember there was a saying from the Khmer local in Siem Reap when I visited in 2003. It's a K9 plan. Tau Chi Lan, Mok Vinh Chi Chan, in English version, go into a dump truck and come back in a bowl. I was questioning them what they mean by that. I was told how their family was sent to Ko Pram and never made it back. What was brought home was that Chan, that was, I was told, it was their family ashes in a bowl, Bong.
Yes.
Wow, and that is very cruel, Chhyna. Go in a dump truck and come back in a bowl. That is it's sad in a way. It's sad and it's cruel. It's just so, I don't know. It's no word to describe. Yeah,
exactly.
to even picture
it's
it.
unexplainable.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm not kidding either, Mom. I mean, this is what I was told when I went there to visit. The devil Vietnamese has no remorse, and we all know that. Killing hundreds of thousands of Kon Khmer for many decades, and Khmer still doing business with them. Some were running with the Vietnamese and begged and plead, on the towards Vietnamese people.
Yeah.
and the government.
Yeah, earlier, you mentioned about that when I went to visit Cambodia, this is everywhere that I go visit, my family, that's what they're talking about, the send, all Kon Khmer to be killed, the K5. So thank you, lady. Okay, let's move ahead with our, stuff that this, trader and his comrade accomplished by, before 1993.
Bong, besides helping the Vietnamese communists killed, a lot of Kon Khmer, after the invasion was completed on January the 7th, 1979, Heng Samrin and Hun Sen signed off our nation's sovereign Bong, territory and integrity rights 4 different times.
This is an act of treason, which under the new Khmer Republic law is the death penalty, ladies. Yes.
Well, Bong, the death penalty should be a capital punishment for all traitors.
I agree, On. I agree, Bong. Yes, we will be the new Khmer Republic constitution after the Parliament of the Khmer Republic ratifies it. And one of the articles will be called for the death penalty for the crime against the people of Mahanago Khmer Min Jay.
The Khmer Republic is for the people that give power to the government. Hun Sen is a monster. He is a devil, the evilest man Khmer ever known, ladies. This man, has so much blood in his hand. He will burn in hell one of this day. Okay. Let's move on, to the last period before 1991, Cambodian Peace Agreement, ladies.
According to the United Nations document and other document made available by other involved nations of the peace accord, Hun Sen and his puppet master dragged their feet to the table after the Soviet Union collapsed. And you know what? Thank you to United States President, Mr. Ronald Reagan, who paved the way for the 1991 Cambodia-Paris Peace Agreement. And if I may add to this, this is the same global political strategy that Le Quotidien is currently using, fix our problem at the global stage.
Thank you.
Sorry, Bong, that is right. It took Hun Sen's till 1985 to even consider talking to the other Khmer 3 factions about finding solutions to end Vietnamese occupancy, Bong.
Yes, he sure did drag his feet on, because he was too busy killing Kon Khmer during K5, which, he was in charge, like Bong Chhovy mentioned it earlier, and too busy signing the illegal 4 treaties, giving our land to the Vietnamese. The 4 treason treaties and the supplement treaties are the 1979 treaty, the right to peace, friendship, and cooperation, 1982 treaty, the Maritime Treaty, Historical Water Treaty, 1983 Treaty on the boundary conditions, boundaries and agreement on principles for boundary agreement, and 1985 Treaty, the Convention on the Limitation of the mainland border. These are the proof of treason that Hun Sen and Heng Samrin committed. And we have a video clip of the signing for both men, Heng Samrin and Hun Sen, signing the sovereignty and territorial integrity away to the Vietnamese communist government. Lomani, could you please play the video? Wow. What else can we say? Thank you for the video, Lumini. You know, this video proven that these
Sorry,
two
honey.
men-
Can you turn on your camera? I don't see.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I go, where are you?
I was focusing on the video, you know, it's just so sad. Look at all the, you know, Khmer are suffering right now. It's so much more, you know, it's just so much more to share. You know, this video proven that these two men are traitors to the Khmer people and the land that they were born on, you know, ladies. You know, as for the new Khmer Republic Constitution, this will be punished by death. And, you know, ladies, the worst part of this signing agreements is in the Vietnamese language.
Oh my
And
God.
that's the worst part of it, in the Vietnamese language. They just sign it. Thank you, Bong.
Thank you.
Well, Mong, in my opinion, I am very speechless as well. These two men brought so much grief to Khmer people over the last 44 years. The penalty is much justified. I do not support taking another life, but we must stand firm not to allow these types to return, Mong.
Yes. These are the accomplishment these two men did and brought up on the Khmer people. One, they killed thousands and thousands of people in the last 44 years. Two, sign our land, you know, away without remorse till today and continue to do so. Okay, let's look at the period after the signing of the 1991 Cambodia Peace Agreement and Junta, the election and the first government, you know, formation in August 1993. Owen Kalyan, please go first.
Sure, Bong. Thank you, Bong. You know, the 1991 Cambodia Peace Agreement, was the most expensive and the largest international project after World War II. And the Cambodia People's Party, they lost the election, of course, but Hun Sen ended up sharing the government and the power with the winning party. Bong.
And that was all orchestrated by the white-haired lady, Bong Tong Pi, Monique Easy, in the palace, who has been in the nightmare of Kon Khmer ever since she became Chhyna Nou #6 wife, rather than just a mistress.
She must have, you know, had a secret arrangement with Hun Sen to, you know, keep Prince Ranariddh from holding the power. You know, after all, Ranariddh was her stepson. She has a plan for her son to be king. And now Khmer have the hollow king with no interest in his people.
I totally agree with you, Bong. And, you know, and also Hun Sen's accomplishment that he most accomplished were the help from the foreigners in their interests, you know, not my interest at all. You know, he cannot formulate anything except killing and intimidating his enemies and Khmer. Without the 1991 Cambodia Peace Agreement, Hun Sen would be the same as before 1991, which he had nothing back then. And the world community was prohibited to do any business in Cambodia also.
Straight.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Bong. Yes. Since the signing of the 1991 Cambodia Peace Agreement, the world community granted the Hun Sen's government $21 billion and provided $10 billion of sovereignty loans, Bong.
You know, the other accomplishment I must, you know, add to his list is killing all the prominent Cambodian, you know, scholar and patriot. Yes.
They managed to sign off land usage to foreigners or joint venture with the evil malicious enemy for 99 years.
And ladies, you know, the most important thing is the culture of destruction.
What do you mean by a culture destruction, Owen?
Well, you know, drugs are everywhere on the street in Phnom Penh and every major city in the country. You know, and alcohol commercials are everywhere in every media outlet, and they're without any restriction. a holy site like the temple is no longer a place for worship. It becomes a tool for opportunists to generate income for personal benefit. Bong. And ladies, this is a major concern. Hun Sen is an agent of evil to destroy Khmer people and Khmer culture.
Yeah, international observers, say that, for the last 30 years, Mr. Hun Sen has committed serious crimes against the nation, violating much of the constitution.
Well, he violated everything from his government constitution. He has a strong arm, intimidates his party's senior members like Chiasim and Sarkane, on and on and on. That has slight visibility of challenging him. Bong.
And also, ladies, Mr. Hun Sen wrote on his Facebook from September 24, 1993 to September 24, 2022, the promulgation of the official national constitution is 29 years old. And he also said that the constitution is the supreme law of the Kingdom of Cambodia. So the rules and decision of the state institutions must follow the constitution.
Yeah. This is absurd, Bong. He is a psycho. He screw up everything he puts his hand onto. From the 1991 Cambodia Peace Agreement and whatever it is that comes to his mind, he'll destroy it all. Although the world knows that this is the Cambodian constitution, the law of the land, he still uses the power and little to manipulate for his own gain. This man doesn't care, who's live or who lives or dies. This is the story of Mr. Strongman Hun Sen. Mong Chhovy and Mong Kalyan. Is that what we name him, Mr. Strongman?
Oh.
Yes, Mr. Strongman. Yeah, he called himself Strongman.
Our people, our motherland.
But his nickname himself is Mr. Strongman. He nicknamed himself Bong.
Yeah, well, on Chhyna, that is correct, that the Constitution of Kingdom of Cambodia, born on September 24, 1993, was born out of fair election organized by Junta under the spirit of mechanism to the Paris Peace Agreement, PPA, in October 23, 1991.
No, Bong, without the 1991 Cambodia Paris Peace Agreement, the constitution would not exist, Bong. Hun Sen and his communist comrade would still be riding bikes and living without running water. Imagine it, because right now we're in the 21st century and a lot of people are suffering right now. And, and in other words, everything we see in Phnom Penh and all the provincial capital cities, they'll result from the free market capitalist society and foreign donors of an average of $500 million annually, even more than that. All the donors give to Cambodia.
Well, he, like you said, that Hun Manet's, Hun Sen wanted to put Hun Manet as his next his next successor as a prime minister. Well, Bong, this narcissistic Hun Manet has a negative social outlook in life, and that's my opinion. I'm kind of, negate this a little bit, but he has a diabolical mentality. He only has one thing that is similar to his dad, a mission to emasculating his manhood. So in other words, he doesn't have all what it takes to be a prime minister to do this. He doesn't have he wants to become a prime minister. You ask me, he's just like his bloody murder father, Hun Sen, extremely combative, no moral value, and definitely no heart. What was mind-blowing was, his son, Manet, had an audacity to comment on the video, which I find it cynical and completely arrogant of him. He thinks that the American diplomat is dumb or what? He thought, he talked about what was, what he talked about was peanut. It was a peanut accomplishment. For example, like the beautiful hotels and traffic jams while the world advances with the 21st century technology bomb.
Thank you, On. Now, let me summarize his accomplishment before getting, into the period after the Paris Peace Accord. One, to advance his promotion he killed all the bosses like, Pan Savan and Jansi. And 2, he coordinated the 5K program to send young men to die, at the Thai Cambodian border. And 3, he and Hay Samran signed Khmer sovereignty and territorial integrity to Vietnam 4 times. 4. Gip Cotral, our beautiful island, the big one, the Cotral, to Vietnam, controlled before 1991. If I miss anything, I will recap. We all will recap at the end of the show. Thank you, ladies.
Oh,
So-
thank you, Bong. Thank you. That was enough, Bong. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more on the list, but Bong, his cruel accomplishment is endless. What we know, but it is significant already, Bong, what you just said earlier. We can see it every day, pain and suffering that our people are experiencing. And Bong, seeing kids and the elderly suffering from malnutrition and homelessness, it just like it makes my eyes teary all the time, Bong. Every time I open up Facebook, Bong.
Okay, I know, what you're trying to say. Please hold your tear for now, okay?
Well, Bong, you are funny here. And you know that I'm very sensitive when it comes to children and elderly people, Bong.
Yes.
Well, Bong Chhovy, this evil monster is merciless. He doesn't have any remorse for Kung Khmer. What he is doing to our country, he doesn't deserve amnesty. He needs to be executed for treason and for murdering Kung Khmer under the Vietnamese doctrine and its propaganda. Mark my words, that day will come, Bong. Our country and people have already suffered too much and for too long. The wind of change is coming, and we can feel it in the air now. Lopatin understand of the pain and suffering in all Kung Khmer. Lopatin adamantly said that the lamenting of Kung Khmer is imminent, is definitely will be an end to an essence of his existence. And when that time comes, my husband and I are ready to help bring peace and stability to our motherland, Bong.
Thank you, Chhyna. The same thing on my husband and I, have the same feeling. On Chhyna, we both already help, to help to rebuild our motherland. This regime must go, and we have, invest, over 4 years, and I am so glad that we can be part of this historical journey. On Chhyna, earlier you said the Cambodian constitution is the law of the land, but it was based on 1991 Cambodian Peace Agreement. And then Hun Sen, he manipulated Kung Khmer by saying the 1991 Cambodian Peace Accord did not exist. It's crazy.
Well, Bong, I'm referring to the fact that Hun Sen had tried to destroy the Constitution through the 10th Amendment, most of which deviated from the content, aiming to preserve the power of the family stock.
Family stock?
For example, this 10th Amendment only paves the way for the transfer of power from Hun Sen to his son, Hun Manet, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and also, Mr. Hun Sen's assertion about the absolute protection of the Constitution without respect for the constitutional stipulate in the Paris Peace Agreement. Oh.
Many foreigners, observers call him a leader with a mental disorder with no remorse for his crime.
Well, Bong, we all know that this man is mentally unstable. He needs psychiatric help. He is a criminal, and he committed crimes and treason without remorse at least 3 decades I could remember. To be correct and precise, let me point out of some of the crimes and treason he committed since 1993, while he is under Vietnam protege as their puppet. First, beginning July 1997, it was a coup, overthrow Norodom Ranariddh government, which is the government was a legitimate government which elected Norodom Ranariddh as the first prime minister in 1993. And then secondly, was the destructions of his rival political parties, Sun Sen, Buddhist liberal Democrat Party, and Phan Sampach, and finally dissolved the CNRP in 2017. Third was the arrest and imprisonment of CNRP President Kamsaka in August 2017. And lastly, he said that the banning of the right of 118 rival is politicians from politics. Wow.
You know, these were never spoken, you know, about by Hun San of Hun San, his father on record. How about the other accomplishment that, you know, we know, that we do know?
Well, you know, this man has no skill to run a government like Singapore or Japan. But, you know, he's very good in two areas, Bong. One, Hun Sen rules with nepotism of 100%, partisan with systematic corruption. And two, dilute all our natural resources. And as we know, we have noticed, you know, on his recent Facebook posting, he wasted government time answering his text, answering the voicemail, on his WhatsApp, you know, on the media, which he has nothing to do with it, you know, of the well-being of the people. Kong Khmer are suffering right now. You know, even the country, you know, we're in trouble here, you know. And you know what? Thank you to the internet and Facebook era for exposing the truth, you know. He cannot hide. Yes. It cannot be hide. So thank you to Facebook and the internet.
Yes, that is correct. You know, from what we know, based on the Global Witness report, his family has registered interest in 114 private domestic, you know, company with listed capital of more than 200 million in US dollar, lady.
Yeah, well, among those 114 companies are linked to major global brands, including Visa, Unilever, Procter & Gamble, Honda, Heineken, and electronic semi-giant like the Apple, Canon, Nokia. And guess what? They also managed to funnel 500 million US dollars to then Prime Minister of Thailand, Mr. Thaksin, to manage for them via the HSBC Bank in Kuwait and London, Bong. This is per the news outlet.
Wow, that is a major accomplishment that Hun Manet is so proud of, you know, of his official dad. How about the sanction imposed on, you know, his government for the violating human rights and vice operations?
Hun Sen crime and human rights violations are no strangers to democratic government like the United States and the European Union. In 2020, the US government sanctioned a PRC company in Cambodia. The Chinese company converted to host military assets, Bong. And then pending legislation in 2022, the Cambodian Democracy Act of 2021, HR 4686, and the Cambodian Democracy and Human Rights, which substantially undermine democracy in the country or engaged in serious human rights abuses. In 2019, in the 116th Congress, Senator Cruz and Representative Loethal introduced the Cambodia Trade Act of 2019 as .34 and HR 1376 representative, which would have required a report on the participations of Cambodia and the GSP, the program, and whether it should be withdrawn. In 2020, the European Union, EU, partially suspended trade preference EBA for Cambodia, citing human rights concerns. The suspension affected 20% of Cambodian exports to the EU. Well,
yeah, Chhyna, you know, these sanctions have a major effect on the country and our people, but not on Hun Sen and his family, and even his inner circle. And he does not care, first of all. But now, you know, we can see it that factories shut their doors every day, and people are out of job. Khmer are out of job, and you know what? Thailand is the only option for them, you know, to survive. To seek for an answer, you know, just to go to Thailand, work as slave labor.
Well, I think it is enough to, respond to Manat about his, official father real accomplishment. Now let's talk about the positive thing that we will have to sharing, what His Excellency Professor Dr. Ray Sidam accomplished in contrast to, our nation traitor.
Bong, before we go on to the next phase, Bong, could you please explain why you keep referring to Hun Sen as Hun Manat's official dad, Bong?
I am waiting you, lady, to ask, this question. Okay, Hun Sen is the official dad of Hun Manat, not a biological father, which is not real blood, okay? And Mr. Mark Smith, we've been talking about that already. Mr. Mark Smith, maybe the whole world know about that already. Mr. Mark Smith, a former United States Army officer, said that Manat is the son of the Vietnamese general that led the invasion of Cambodia in 1979, and the person that was direct commanding officer to Hun Sen and was assigned to K5, the project before Hun Sen become the prime minister in year 1985.
Wow, Bong, if this is not true, why don't the Hun family and even Hun Manat himself bring a lawsuit against us or any Khmer people that are making this statement, or better yet, file a lawsuit against Mr. Smith to put this rumor to rest?
Well, Bong, having DNA done isn't ideal. This would only end up the rumor, like you said. Still, in the end, we all know that Bun Rani knows better than any one of us. Hun Manet is the product of Le Doc Tho, the Vietnamese government. Like we said, the first Vietnamese government leader who led the invasion of Cambodia in 1979. Bong.
And we all can see, that Manat resemble, this guy, Le Doc Tho, flashing blood. If you put picture, I see a lot of what you call it, YouTube or Facebook, they put picture Hun Sen and Le Doc Tho
on social media, exactly. Well, social media, even,
He look like, who does he look like?
He looked like Le Doc Tho.
Yes, there you go. Thank you. Yes, you are the Vietnamese, Mr. Manat.
And one more note, ladies, I noticed during the funeral of Bonari's sister back in January, the funeral ceremony was conducted with a Vietnamese priest or monk, I'm not sure, he's a monk or priest, walking along Manat at the final phase when, she was laid to rest. You see the chapel, you did not see the Khmer monk that walked along with Manat. You see the Vietnamese monk or priest. There's a video on it also, if this does not tell us that Manat is Vietnamese, I do not know what else to say besides, he should be getting the DNA done to rest it, to make it go.
Put it to
away.
rest, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, no doubt, Manat is Vietnamese. Okay, let's talk about our Lopatian accomplishments, ladies. We discussed this, on our first show. Who is Dr. Ray Sidam? Due to Manat bragging, about his official dad, it is, only fair to bring this up again, our Lopatian. There is so much talk about, Lopatian accomplishment. It is no comparison between these two men. One is the world leader, collaborate in 34 years. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, but Bong, it is, you're right. You're absolutely right, Bong. There is no comparison, Bong.
Yeah.
No comparison between these two men. One is the world, like you say, leader caliber with the 34 years proven record on the world stage. And on the other hand, we have Hun Sen as the world scum and foreign puppet that has sucked Khmer blood ever since 1970 until now.
Thank you, On. Chhyna, you want to say it?
Well, sure, Bong. I have never known anyone that has so much accomplishment other than Professor Dr. Ray Sidam. He has the ability to withstand the toughest in the Jewish financial world, Bong. the most obstacle he ever endured. So Luc Batien can make them, nonetheless, Luc Batien, Professor Dr. Ray Sedam is able to make these people to comply at ease without a problem. At last, they called him master.
That is right. With 12 international treaties bestowed to him in 1995, and 28 years later, he is still in the command and more powerful than ever. This 12 international treaty, all the powerful treaties, everyone is hounding for Luc Batien and try daily to unseat him.
Also, you know what, ladies, earlier this month, they even tried to outsmart Luc Batien by offering Luc Batien the presidency of the World Bank. Guess what? In exchange for his position as the chairman of UNOITC. Although Luc Batien turned it down, it is the most prestigious position. But liberating Cambodia is Luc Batien's priority.
Well, Luc Batien has accomplished so much in life. And I would like to reiterate this again, like 6 PhD degrees from the 6th most prestigious school in the world, holds the most gold as a private citizen, control the world wealth, the sole heir to the combined global asset accounts, hold the Alpha Omega code, the most influential financial person that all these superpower nations leaders seek daily financial help, holds the highest Federal Reserve license level 3.5, Jesuit trained member, permanent and lifetime member of a committee of 300. These are some of Luc Batien's outstanding achievements. Only 1 out of 8 billion people holds such distinguished credentials. I could continue, but everyone understood how accomplished Luc Batien really is.
Yes, Chhyna, I know, and here is my take on this. I am talking about what Gold Khmer of Mahana Gold Khmer Min Jay should expect Luc Batien to bring to Cambodia. Manites brags about his official dad's accomplishment is ludicrous on.
All of Hun Sen's accomplishments benefit the rich and the people in his family circle. They created the phony Oknya to wash the illegal money from China, and we all know that, the whole world know that. For example, the young entertainers, to name a couple like Kamrat Sraimon and Prip Savatbong.
Yes, Chhyna, you are correct on, Luc Batien will bring prosperity to our Gold Khmer in the following area. The living standard will be raised from the bottom of the ASEAN or $5 a day to a quality living. All schools, regardless of the country's location or section, will be Western education standards. Everyone will have access to medical care and preventive medicine. The legal system will be fair and balanced, and the government will be for the people and governed by the people only.
What should Gold Khmer be expected of our country in the future? Our grandchildren's future will be safe, and we will not be anyone's slave. Our nation will surely be strong and not considered a lost nation again.
You know what, lady, we will accomplish, this together as a nation under the new Khmer Republic government. What time is it, lady? I think the show has come to the end.
It is long.
Absolutely long. It's about 4 minutes
So
before
we
the
have
show.
like less than 1 hour. So thank you so much. Please, share your closing statement. Start with on Kalyan and then on Chhyna. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Bong and Chhyna. Before we end tonight, I would like to mention again that Manite bragged about his parents sacrificed so much for the country during the Hun Sen and Bunari's movie screening back on the 13th of March. You know what, ladies, he is absolutely right that Hun Sen and Bunari sacrificed for the Vietnamese communists. They have killed Gold Khmer since 1979 and helped all illegal Vietnamese immigrants become legal and allocate land and housing for them. And per Luc Batien, let me speak. Per Bong sort of like a statistic, the birth rate calculation that was based on the United Nations population growth formula. 8 million plus Vietnamese among the 17 million Cambodia population recorded on the world odometer, and here are some of the Hun Sen's and Bonari accomplishment, but I'm coming up with here, the conclusion here. They killed Gold Khmer. They sent Gold Khmer to work in foreign land with slave labor. The Vietnamese communist controls 4 provinces of 47,000 plus kilometers square. The Vietnamese communists and the Chinese have turned Sihanoukville into casino town with mafia activities. Khmer culture is slowly transforming into other culture. My final conclusion, if I may, Lopatian, your statement of conquering, they break us, they divide us, they destroyed us, and they conquer us. This is clearly what Hun Sen and his family are doing to Gold Khmer right now. And this is not something to be proud of at all. I'm sorry, it's not to be proud of at all. And, if there is no liberation, Khmer sovereignty will be non-existent. Thank you, Bong, and good night. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Bong Kalyan and Bong Chhovy. As we are, end our tonight show, I just want to kind of reach out to Alkun Khmer again to say that Alkun Khmer must remember that what happened to us in the past will definitely carry on to the future. We have gotten to stop the Ho Chi Minh doctrine from spreading to our future generation. We need to put an end to this treacherous mutant infestations of Vietnamese in our Khmer land. The future prosperity and longevity in Cambodia is in your hands, in our hand, in my hand, and in your hand, and all Khmer hands. Khmer, do not allow these thieves to succeed in their evasion, but a stop to it. We can't let the dead, sadistic, devious Ho Chi Minh accomplish in his deadly, malicious mission. Bong. Thank you for the last remark.
Thank you, Chhyna. Thank you very much. Well, before we close out our show, I would like to thank you, Bong Mani, for video again. And I wish, next month is going to be Cambodian New Year. And I would like to wish Luk Mia, Dr. Racy Dam, and Luk Pu So Rapay, Ms. Van Ho, and all our viewers. And of course, my two beautiful ladies here. I wish everyone have a happy Khmer New Year. So we'll see everyone next year, right? Next year, which is April.
Definitely. I'll see you next year. Cambodian. Cambodian.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Again, thank you. And from Our Lady Viewpoint show, we would like to thank you again. His Excellency Dr. Racy Dam and Ms. Van Ho and Luk Pu So and all SCKHK member, and of course to our supporter around the globe. As committed, the Supreme Council of Khmer for Rescue will ensure that all the traitor will be brought to justice until we meet again next month. Please follow the Khmer Politics and Supreme Council of Khmer for Rescue. Thank you and good night. យើងខ្ញុំទាំងអស់គ្នាសូមថ្លែងអំណរអគុណដល់អស់លោកស្រីប្រិយមិត្តតែងតែតាមដានកម្មវិធីទស្សនៈស្ត្រីនៃឧត្តមក្រុមប្រឹក្សាខ្មែរជួយខ្មែររំដោះជាតិយើងនឹងវិលជួបអស់លោកសាជាថ្មីនៅវេលាក្រោយទៀតយើងខ្ញុំទាំង3នាក់សូមជូនពរដល់អស់លោកស្រីបងប្អូនទាំងអស់ជួបតែសេចក្តីសុខសេចក្តីចម្រើននៅក្នុងឱកាសចូលឆ្នាំថ្មីខ្មែរយើងនេះនៅខែ4ចាសូមអរគុណគ្រប់ជម្រាបលា
Well, you know how Now